guys, welcome back to Creators Chat Q&A. This question is about, do we draw motivation and inspiration from existing works of art and photos? So when we're kind of struggling with motivation with our work, when we're feeling distracted, do we find that looking at other people's work and that kind of thing is motivating and inspiring to us? Honestly, no. If I start looking at other people's work when I'm feeling demotivated, the most likely thing that's going to do is depress me. I'm going to start looking at all this amazing stuff that other people are doing, looking at all these beautiful photographs of what already exists, and feeling like my inability to get myself motivated to do my own work, it means I'm like failing. I find that in those times, actually, like shutting out that stuff is way more motivating and inspirational to me than listening to it. Mm-hmm. I find that kind of thing is motivating and inspiring early in the process. And sometimes if there's something very specific I'm struggling with, I can look at other people's work to see how they've addressed that problem themselves. Yeah. But in terms of searching in other people's work for motivation and inspiration, that's a big no-no for me. It might be different for other people, but for me, I find that to be the opposite of motivating. I find that the reasons for me getting demotivated are usually much more internal and much more with me needing to address a problem of my own. Yeah. And looking at other people succeeding at that is a very good way to make me feel like I'm completely powerless to do so. I find that shutting out distractions like that, if I'm struggling, is actually way more productive. But that could just be me.
I tend to agree. I tend to find that most people probably equate looking at art or looking at photographs as inspiring themselves and working hard, when really looking at that stuff is procrastination. And if you find it enjoyable, that's great. Like occasionally I'll pop on ArtStation and look at what people are up to. And there's a lot of cool stuff. But am I going to do that to motivate myself to work? Not really. If you happen to find it works for you, that's great. Yeah. Because there is a certain degree of that I can understand. Where, for instance, I'll look at, say, a new magic set when it comes out, and I'll compare my work to everybody else's and see, where am I standing in these ranks? Am I living up to everybody else's standard? Am I exceeding it? Where am I at? How am I doing? And that, I think, is kind of important. Yeah. It's why, I'll get the Spectrum books every year and take a look through, what is the best stuff that's out there? What are the best things that everybody else is doing, and how am I stacking up? Does it look like I'm being lazy compared to everybody else? And usually it does. And so that sort of sense, I can get a little bit of motivation from it, a little bit of inspiration. Day to day, though, it's not going to help me.
I find that I have to have a very specific thing I'm looking for. Yeah. So a good example of this actually is that I'm working on a piece at the moment that has some very decorative elements to it, which is something I've not done very much of. And I know that if I just kind of plowed straight into it without looking for inspiration, motivation in other people's work first, I would probably find myself not achieving my full potential or not exploring all the possibilities. So what I did was I kind of took a break in the middle. I went and looked at Alphonse Mucha, who does amazing decorative things. Yep. And I'm trying to keep it at an arm's length. So I'm not looking for his work to find things to steal from it or to hold my work against his and see if it compares. It's more a case of what has another artist done to solve this problem. I'm looking through his work and I'm going, I don't really see that working, but that's kind of cool. I wonder if I can, and it's more of a trying to find a specific answer, not just comparing my work to his as a whole, but trying to find a very specific answer in somebody else's work. And then filter it through several layers of me and then find my own answer to it, not to just kind of copy the way he does things. So in terms of answering a specific question, it can be helpful. But in terms of looking for motivation, doesn't do it for me.
Not usually. And again, occasionally I'll get something from it, but for the most part, I find looking at art to be procrastinating for me.
And then sometimes actively upsetting for me.
I don't get quite as upset as you do.
I'm just like, oh, I can't do any of this. There's so many good artists. I'm doomed. So yeah, generally it's not something I keep them very separate. Creating and getting inspired off of other people's work for me are two very separate things. I enjoy consuming work and I enjoy kind of looking at things and going, wow, I never thought of doing that. But it needs to be very separate from my creation process lest it really upsets me. So yeah, I think that kind of covers it. All right, thanks guys.